Why does Japan feel different? Not better, not worse, just different. You feel it the moment you land.
There's a feeling you get when you're in Japan. It's almost immediate, something you can sense, but it's hard to put your finger on it. It's a kind of quiet hum, an unspoken understanding that seems to flow through all the public spaces. You see, it's more than just an absence of noise or chaos. It feels like the presence of something, a certain texture to the way people move and interact. So, what is that exactly? What are we sensing behind this distinct feeling of difference? Let's start with what we can actually see. All around you, there are these outward expressions of order. I think of it as a kind of shared performance, a collective rhythm that everyone understands without needing a script. Imagine a train car during the morning rush. It's completely packed with people, shoulder to shoulder, yet it's astonishingly quiet. No one is telling them to be quiet. It's just this collective, unspoken agreement. Or watch people waiting for a bus. A line just forms, effortlessly. Straight, patient. There are no barriers, no one directing traffic. Just this mutual, quiet understanding of how it should be. It's like a silent choreography. And then there are the streets themselves. Even in the heart of the busiest cities, things are remarkably clean. It suggests a kind of shared ownership, a collective care for these spaces that belong to everyone, and at the same time, to no one in particular. It would be easy to just say, well, people there are just good at following rules. But it feels like more than that, doesn't it? The consistency of it all suggests there's something else at work here, that this visible order is just the surface of a much deeper current. And to understand that current, we have to look past the actions themselves and tune into the invisible communication that's guiding them. There's a whole language here, but it isn't spoken. It's felt. At the very heart of this is a concept known as kuki o yomu. The literal translation is to read the air. And that's precisely what it is. It's the social skill of sensing the atmosphere, of understanding what's needed or expected in a situation without anyone having to say a single word. This means that in many situations, the most important communication is happening non-verbally. What is left unsaid is often the real message. To be too direct can seem unsophisticated, while the ability to understand nuance is a sign of social grace. And when you think about it that way, everything changes a little. That silence on the train. Maybe it isn't an empty space. Perhaps it's actually full of meaning, a quiet, constant communication of mutual respect for one another's peace. So how does one manage this constant reading of the air? It's done through a very clear understanding of social context, which is often divided into two worlds, the inside world and the outside world. And you present a different self depending on which world you're in. This brings us to two core ideas, hone and tatame. Hone represents one's true inner feelings, the thoughts and desires you'd only share with your closest friends and family. Tatame, on the other hand, is the public face. It's the behavior you display to ensure social interactions are smooth and harmonious. Now, from the outside, it might be easy to interpret this as being inauthentic or false, but that's not the point at all. Tatame is considered a crucial social skill. It's not about deception. It's about choosing to prioritize the harmony of the group over your own individual expression in a public setting. So when you begin to weave all these threads together, the quiet public performance, the skill of reading the unspoken, the careful management of the public and private self, you start to see the shape of a truly unique social fabric. And that feeling we began with, that sense of difference, it's not imagined. It arises from this deep cultural priority placed on group harmony. It's a connection built not always on what is explicitly stated, but on a vast, shared, and unspoken context. What this all points to, in the end, is a social structure that values the space between people, just as much as it values the people themselves. The relationship, the harmony, the unspoken connection, that is what is being protected. So we come back to where we started, that feeling of a different kind of silence, a different kind of order. Perhaps what we're sensing is not an absence of something at all. Perhaps it's the presence of a language, one that our ears might not be trained to hear, a language that is spoken and deeply understood in silence.
If you felt it too, you understand. This is Japan Explained.